Hello?
Oh, hi, it's Sarah Jessica calling.
You're now listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where three guys watch their way through Sex and the City for the first time ever, mostly. Whew. I am Kory Cavin.
I'm Kevin James Doyle.
My name is Jon Sieber.
And today we are going on a thrill ride of endorphins, wine, and
Escapades.
And we have a guest with us who is, I can't wait to talk to, who's here for it all and is going to teach a lot about wine. Please welcome sommelier Amanda McCrossin, everyone.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Amanda.
Hey, thank you so much for being here.
I feel like I just went through a lot with you.
I was going to say, like, we need to get to
What's happening?
what's happening. We need to talk with you about your job and your experience with Sex and the City, but we have some other things to cover first.
Yeah.
All four of us.
Yeah.
What is it? What are those things that, like, at the end, like at the end of like some adventure when you're like closer to everybody? It's like when you think like a plane is going to crash and then you get off and you're like, we should actually keep in touch and be friends.
Yeah, it's like an insane bonding moment.
Which is interesting because I heard that the people that were on the Sully flight, they get together like once a year.
See?
They're like
Yeah.
all
True.
just complete buds.
If John and I've never met you before tonight, Amanda.
Yes.
You and Kevin know each other.
Yeah.
We went to school together.
We did.
After tonight, I would lay down in traffic for you.
100%.
Like, no problem.
Gosh, guys, I feel the same
100%.
way, and I'm
Yeah.
not even drunk yet.
If
So
you ever need a kidney, I've got one for you.
So-
I got two
so-
for
I
you.
might have with how much wine I drink.
There you
so
go. I got one.
Thanks.
So what's going on? Let's paint some context for the listeners.
So this is what happened.
Okay.
Let's just start from the beginning.
Yeah, let's go.
The other day, like, we're watching through Sex and the City, where at every moment we're figuring out like, what can we do? Because it's so weird when we started this, like, you get our friends, we ask for whatever. And as we've been going, you're just like producing and booking people is just like chess. You're just like, what can I do so that someone will not just be like, we understand you're just three weirdos with microphones. And so obviously the goal is to get all the girls on the show, to get any cast member on the show. And one day, Sarah Jessica Parker tagged us just posted about her wine, Invivo SJP wine. And so one of our listeners, the artist from Canada, Christelle, I forget her last name, but she does these beautiful pictures.
Pencil artist. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
pencil artist.
Yeah.
Beautiful art. She tagged us and was like, you guys should drink this wine on the show. So in my little chess, we had already talked about doing an episode, and I tagged you, and it was on SJP's feed. I tagged you, and I was like, oh, we're actually thinking about doing it. What's your Instagram? At
Somme Vivant.
Somme Vivant.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah. And I was like, we're actually going to do an episode where we drink Sarah Jessica Parker's wine. It's a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. And I tagged you, and we're going to do it on the podcast. And just walking down the street, being yourself. And then all of a sudden my phone buzzed, and Sarah Jessica Parker tagged both of us and responded, was like, oh, let me know. I'd love to call in.
And
So
then
then-
we died.
And then like,
and we've been dying ever since.
Yes.
It's been a perpetual state of death.
Of death.
Excited death.
Yeah.
then I DM you and I'm like, what the just happened?
Well, because I'm seeing this in real time too, and I'm like screenshotting, and like we can't DM each other fast enough
Yeah.
to talk about the fact that Sarah Jessica Parker is commenting back on this post.
Yeah, and I went to it to be like, this is a fake account. Like, this has got to
Yeah.
be like Sarah Jessica Parker
It's
with two
definitely some
R's.
guy at work sitting on the
127.
toilet being like, I'll come on your show.
Yeah. I'll accept too. So then after that, I messaged her Instagram account and was like, we'd love to have you at any time. Never got seen because she has millions of followers.
Yeah.
And then the thing after that was like, well, what do you do?
Well, the other thing that happened is we immediately told everyone, Sarah Jessica Parker with like, then it's like, well, how does this happen now?
From the years now that Kory and I have done like comedy shows together, he definitely knows that it's just like, I'm like, swing first, hope there's a ball in front of you later.
If 100% shoot first.
Jim Gaffigan's going to be at the show.
Yeah.
You're
And
like,
oftentimes it works out. But sometimes when you promise Barack Obama is going to come box someone, it doesn't work out. That's totally fine.
So we told everybody, and then we're always getting messages the past like 2 months that are just like, dude, that's amazing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't really know how to get a hold of her. Do you know how to get a hold of Sarah
You're like, that
Jessica
is
Parker?
amazing. You guys friends? Please.
So I emailed the wine guy, the head of the wine, from their contact page 2 or 3 different times. And then I sent the screenshot, and then they got back to us earlier this week.
Mm-hmm.
We were going back and forth. And then about a few days ago, they're like, Sarah Jessica Parker is going to call in. Here's the deal. And then you take some of the story from here.
So you told John and I, like, we've talked to someone at Invivo. She's calling in, and Amanda, you're in town in New York.
Yeah. Well, I had a trip planned, and so we kind of got the ball rolling then, and we're like, this is the day. This is when it's going to happen.
Yep.
How can we make it? Like, so I think it was like you guys really pushed it.
It was definitely a thing where it's like you were in town. We've been planning. We were like, great, we'll do this. The Invivo sent over some wine, and then the ball started rolling. It was like SJP's in town, and then it was like it's game time. And then we talked to our producer Jeremy, and Jeremy was like, I'm in Los Angeles. And because Jeremy runs a bunch of other podcasts, and he's on tour with one of his podcasts, the Danny and Mike podcast. And so he was like, I'm not there. Can we push it a week? And we were like,
we have the sommelier.
She's in town for one day.
And then Jeremy was like, okay, what else can we do? And so then it was like, how do we get this rolling? And so we put things together, and then we start calling around. We find a way to record it.
At our studio, which just so happens to be going over major construction.
Kevin got there tonight, an hour before. And what were they doing?
You know, it's one of those like on time is late situations, because I got there early, and if I would have got there on time, because I got there like 15 minutes early. I sat down, and then I was like, guys, the people working in there, I was like, when are all the? There was a guy pounding hammers. There was
just not even working on anything. He was just like pounding. It was like an adult playing with one of those kids' toys. Yeah. He was just hitting something over and over again.
It was literally Thor from the Marvel movie.
we will post it, but then I just sent a text to those guys of just they're just like a hammer and nails, and they're buffing the entire floor. There's 8 workers on the floor. And I was like, hey, when are you guys going to be done? Because we're recording a thing in an hour and a half.
It's a little bit important.
Yeah. And it was 6:00, and he's like, we'll be done midnight. Mm-hmm. So I just sent a text, and I was just like, Plan B, John.
Which I need to apologize for. That's 100% my fault, because 2 days ago they were working during business hours, and I stormed out there and I was like, I can't hear our clients. You need to come back later this week at night. So I totally screwed that up.
The other night we were hanging out. I forgot where we were, Kevin, but we were talking about the Greek myth of what is it? Where
Oedipus?
We were talking about Oedipus, and we were talking about self-fulfilling prophecies, and like completely, John, you had no idea, but you were like, this can't happen at work.
Yeah.
It'll happen in the side project. That's highly important.
That's way more.
You didn't realize that you did it, and
it's way more important than anything I've ever worked on professionally.
And it wasn't your fault, but they were just like, oh, we'll be back.
That is 100% John's hubris. Your pride brought.
Sorry, right? I get it.
So we get to our new studio in a half hour's time, which is John's apartment, and we had been emailing back and forth. The whole deal is Sarah Jessica Parker is calling in at 8.
Well, between 8 and 8:15.
Yeah,
and this is a testament to just her professionalism.
Timely, very timely.
Yeah, 8 p.m. on the dot. We're figuring stuff out. It's 7:58, and we're like, and we've got everything together.
We have everything together, and then
in my apartment, all set up
in John's apartment.
Overhead lights.
Lights. It's a beautiful apartment.
So we answer the phone. It's one of those things that you're like, you know how like if you just stay in your apartment, if you just like go out in the woods and live there, like you'll never feel stressed again, but you'll never feel alive again. I've never felt more alive than I do right now.
That's like what a gambling addict would say.
Hey,
you can put money in savings, but have you ever been to Vegas?
I'm Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems
You are
right now.
Adam,
I'm just
you are
like,
Howie.
I disagree.
Totally.
Are you having fun yet? Yes.
Amanda, as you observed all that, what was that like?
Sure did.
Yeah, how are you feeling?
I felt like I had all of your stress and anxiety and like hopes and dreams and fears on the line, just like living currently in my armpits. Like it was a lot, but it was also really exciting. Like you did look quite alive, Kevin.
You're definitely glowing right now.
But as soon as that phone rang, I grabbed my phone and I picked it up and I was like, this is a moment. What is going on outside?
Someone is just
New
laying
York
on their
City.
horn.
How
It's
dare
like
you?
as if this night can go any more unplanned.
This shit doesn't
Someone
happen
fell
in
asleep
Napa.
on their horn.
Yeah, it's just it is like when you they're still honking. It's like when you texted me that so I don't know if we talked about this in the podcast, but like we've all read some very like feely arty things.
Yeah.
Kevin and I did this thing called The Artist Way.
And I'll do it again.
And I'll do it again. I gave the book to a friend. He's doing it right now. And he told me the other day about it. And I was like, I need to do it again.
Katie and I's copy is sitting right over there.
Yeah, we've all, and the reason I bring it up is when you sent me the video of the guys working on the thing, I was like, if that isn't resistance right there, I don't know what is.
Because
you feel like the world's against you and you're like, that's my art telling me to pull through.
Let
someone's laying on the horn.
Let's allow ourselves to go back to the night that just the first time we did it. Like we were in our studio and we were just like, oh, we're going to watch this show. And like, we talked to like one of the biggest stars in the world.
Yes.
And I'll tell you this it's crazy. It makes sense why anyone quits anything they do. Even the next thing I want to work on, I'm like, I already want to quit because it's so like things like that happen. And then you do it and you get through and you're like, that was awesome. Like,
And she wants to come back.
and
Is that spoiled?
we won't spoil it. You'll listen to it.
You know what? That's not a spoiler. That's just a teaser. Yeah.
Well, let's do this. That's what brings us up to now. Because we have our incredible producer here, made everything happen. She's calling on, I don't know what restaurant she's at, but she's with her family. And she's just stepped out.
What a nice human
She
being.
told us twice. This is not really on mic, but she had told us she was at an engagement that she was like, I am happy to talk to you, but like
She just needed to know the time.
she didn't know the time frame because she was busy and she was taking time out of her personal schedule to talk to
because they asked us the time frame, and we were like, 25 minutes, and that was just, and they never got back with like, oh, we can do 10. So the first time we got our response was from her being like, how much time? And we were just like, 5 minutes. And it was like, and so this is us talking on the phone with Sarah Jessica Parker, doing everything we can.
Who is she in the show?
She played in episode 1.
Was she in the cab?
She works for the New York Observer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't put it.
She's not the woman in the cab that has all the luggage in the first episode. You're thinking of
I thought that's who the show is about.
No, you're thinking of the one with all the luggage.
Yeah.
That's a story about a couple.
Oh.
Yeah. different
Yeah,
woman.
that's not her. And she is, she's a writer. She has a column, and she's on the side of a bus.
Is she the Hasidic person that hooks up with Charlotte?
No,
That's Shmuel.
Okay.
That's Shmuel.
Yeah.
Wow, in tandem.
I
Big
can't.
Shmuel head.
Sarah Jessica Parker. The name sounds familiar.
She plays.
Do you know who Capote Duncan is?
Yes.
So she is in this, like, she never dated Capote Duncan.
Okay.
Although in some other there's some other like backstory
canon.
fiction
You
stuff.
lost
It's
me.
not
You lost
canon.
me.
Sorry, I know you're a big
Yeah.
Capote fan.
Yeah.
You know the guy in the first episode
Yes.
who he smokes, he's kind of got like weird spiky 90s hair, and he goes home with some woman and he pleasures her, and then he's like, your turn. And then she leaves.
Yeah. I
Yes.
think I remember her.
That's Carrie Bradshaw.
Got it.
That's
okay.
Sarah Jessica
Got
Parker.
it. Okay.
Care-
That's
okay,
good because I didn't know who we were talking to this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's who that is, John.
So
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I thought this podcast was about billions.
Wait, so she's not The Rock?
She's
She's not,
The Rock. She's
I gotta
not
go.
Paul Giamatti.
I gotta
not Jason
go.
Statham, just to throw him in there as well.
Ladies and gentlemen, listeners, this is our phone call. Cabs in the back honking. This is our phone call with the legend, the incredible Sarah Jessica Parker. So we are we're at the end of season 4. We've actually never seen Sex in the City before, and we're at the end of season 4.
I'm so charmed by that. You
So,
have no idea.
You know that we're three guys watching Sex in the City for the first time ever. We love the show.
Absolutely love it.
Absolutely love it. And so we just finished, like Kevin said, we just finished the end of season 4. So many things happened. Season 4 was like a crazy thrill ride. And we're about to enter season 5. But one of the biggest things is that Big is going to Napa.
Okay.
We figured this would be a great time to bring this up.
Thank you for the reminder, because I assure you, I would not have known if you'd, my life on the line and asked me what happened in season 4 and what is, I would be absolutely, completely confounded. So,
Yeah.
Okay, so Big is on his way to Napa.
Yes.
Big is on his way to Napa.
You don't go to Napa. You take a Napa. Is there a Napa joke about sleeping rather than traveling?
There is a you don't go to Napa, you take a Napa.
You take a Napa.
We figured this was actually.
And then have they danced yet to Moon River?
They have.
Absolutely.
One of the best moments. It was amazing. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
And ironically,
I love shooting that scene.
well, ironically, now you are a winemaker yourself, and we're enjoying your wine right now. We've actually we're having a glass.
I wish I was with you in person to enjoy it.
Oh my goodness!
Well, we actually have a sommelier here with us that is doing a wine tasting with us, and we wanted to have her ask you a question real quick about the wine, if that's okay.
Of course.
I actually
if I'm
am.
deserving of being asked by a proper sommelier.
Well, I'm hardly proper, but I am a sommelier, and I am from Napa, though I don't take many naps. So we,
Okay.
I actually have seen the show many, many times, and I'm a very big fan. So I'm excited to be here with these guys with their first time, as I'm sure their listeners are as well. But we we just cracked into our very first bottle of Invivo, and you guys are enjoying it. We popped it, and I think the first word out of everyone's mouth was "Holy smokes, that is so aromatic." I don't think they use those precise words. I use those words, but incredibly like grassy and herbaceous, zesty. These guys are loving it. I'll let you guys talk about the wine a little bit if you have any comments about it.
Well, we just wanted to ask, what made you choose a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand?
Especially because there's so many things you could choose, like spirits and all that stuff. Why go with this wine?
Okay, well, so I don't bore your listeners, I'll do the briefest version I'm able to manage. So I got a call. It was surprising at best, asking if I would consider, partaking in this collaboration. I was stunned. I have no business pretending to have, any knowledge except being an enthusiastic wine drinker myself. But after much time spent talking with Tim and Rob and learning about their company, I was convinced that I would be surrounded by smart and skilled people, and that it would be an opportunity, in all sincerity, to learn about the wine business, and in particular, Sauvignon Blanc, which some might argue is best produced out of the Marlborough region in New Zealand. So I was excited. I felt privileged and challenged. I confess, and have been fairly public about this, that I had up to that point not really been voluntarily a Sauvignon Blanc drinker.
Mm-hmm.
I had typically been your average archetypal Chardonnay reacher.
Yes, me too.
There's no shame in that. There's no shame in that.
And I always felt that it was because I had this sort of common, unsophisticated palate, and that Chardonnay was much more hospitable. Like, it was easy to understand and quick, and Sauvignon Blanc sort of perplexed me. But so I had this amazing experience and got to work with these fine fellows, and also got to work and sort of honors the category, but mess with it a bit and think about it differently, and how could we produce something that had a purpose in the market. There's plenty already, so it's been an amazing experience, and I'm just thrilled that it's had such a lovely and generous reception.
We also love
That's a lot.
the
That was too long an answer. I'm so sorry.
No, that was great. Amazing. We love the label as well. It's so beautiful.
It's amazing.
Oh, thank you.
Well,
that's my finger, actually, to be honest, because I always sign everything X, which is very original. I always XOX or X, comma.
Yeah.
So we just got a can of teal paint, and I just started trying to sort out whether I could manage to kind of create on paper what I saw in my mind's eye, and so that's my finger.
That's really cool.
It's great.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for calling in. We have to ask on behalf of the listeners, of everyone who's such a big fan of Sex and the City. You, as Sarah Jessica Parker, are you Team Aiden or Team Big?
Yeah, not Carrie. We're talking about Sarah Jessica Parker.
Wait, I couldn't hear you. What?
At this point in your life, Jon was saying, we have a question from all of our listeners and fans. Are you, not Carrie, but is Sarah Jessica Parker Team Aiden or Team Big?
And why?
Oh, wow.
We realize we're putting you on the spot.
As you can imagine, this puts me in a terrible position. Well, there's a very quick and simple answer, and that's, of course, that you have to be Team Big or Team Jon, I guess, only because you can't tell a story that long and not, in the most conventional way, kind of root for that ending. And I love Chris Noth so much, and it felt wonderfully and skillfully written by Michael Patrick. But I love John Corbett so much, and I loved Aiden. I loved his Aiden, and it was the best of both worlds. It is, in fact, having your cake and eating it too. So I feel like I got both teams. Ultimately, Carrie should have ended up with Big, but it was a delight to mess around before she arrived at that.
That is.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I think we're all just stunned.
We were all just stunned, just waiting on bated breath.
Yeah, that was such an incredible answer. We just wanted to thank you so much for the friendships that you have provided to so many people across the world. People have just, we've fallen in love with the show the last couple of years watching it, and it's been a fantastic journey. So thank you so much on behalf of everyone.
Oh my gosh, thank you. And I hope one day I'll get to meet you all in person, and we can do this without a delay or earbuds. That would be first would be much more preferable. So if you consider it one day, I hope you have me back in person. And thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
We would love that. That'd be a dream. This has already been a dream come true. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, fellas. Thank you so much, and have a great night. And thank you to your much learned sommelier.
My pleasure. Thank you for the
so
wine.
much.
Have a great night.
Thanks,
All right,
Sarah
bye,
Jessica.
everybody. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thank
Bye
you.
now.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.
You too.
Bye.
It's just, I feel
We're doing the best we can.
I feel like no one's okay. No one seems okay.
I feel like a sense of relief, but also like I need to go sleep for a few days, and then also I'm like, wow, what a wonderful person.
What an incredible person. I just want to say thank you so much to Sarah Jessica Parker, because that was
thank you so much.
the
being
nicest
most
thing
gracious
anyone's
person.
ever done.
We took video of this, and at one point you can see Jon get up, come over to my microphone, and then lean into the phone. And then I'm trying to repeat Jon's question, but not talk over Jon. Like, just people being a physical mess.
Mhm.
Like humans who are adults.
Let's just go over real quick the Sex and the City stuff that she talked about, and then we can get into what she said about the wine, which is really cool.
Yep.
Which I think like it was a very diplomatic answer, but it was also really cool that she talked about how much she loved working with Jon Corbett.
That was so
and
cool.
Chris Noth,
Totally.
and like, you could hear why the debate still rages, because she's just like, what'd she say? I got to have my cake and eat it too.
too.
Yeah, which is just like, I thought that was such like a good question and such a highlight.
That is like the perfect answer, because everyone is always team big, team Aiden, and she's just like, I did both.
I had
It's like I had everything,
And it's
I
like-
got to work with them both.
Yeah, and
The chemistry was there. Like it was just a beautiful answer.
It's amazing. Yeah,
You guys haven't seen the movies, right?
No.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
I've
well,
seen one of the movies.
the saga
but a very long
continues.
time ago.
What?
We've told you this before. I saw the first movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't. I've heard it.
The movies are great.
Yeah. So we're here. First of all, I want to thank the entire team at Invivo for
Yes.
they sent you a few bottles of wine.
They were insane. They responded within like 17 seconds of my email, which was nuts. And then yes, they did send me a couple bottles of wine, and
They saw my 5 emails first, and
Yeah.
with you tagged it, they're like, "Whoa, okay."
all right.
Who's this dude?
I was like, I'll post on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're amazing, and the wine's amazing.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about you.
Okay, what do you
Yeah.
want to talk about?
Yeah. Well, so you and Kevin, you guys know each other because you went to college together.
Were you on the
did.
14th floor freshman year
Ooh, no, yeah, we were on the same
Yeah,
floor
we're on
because
the
you
same floor.
were roommates with Scott, right?
with? I was roommates with Michael.
Mike. Oh,
Yeah.
oh yes.
That-
Sorry,
and-
that's a joke for literally 2.
That was so funny. It was like, let's talk about you. You guys went to
Yeah.
the most
I was-
personal thing you could.
I was in. Well,
Cool.
because I have.
Where did you guys go to school?
Corey, what floor were you on?
I was on the 4th floor of E House.
Great. Yeah.
Yep. I roomed with Matthew Boland.
I thought you lived with Thomas.
Nope. I was friends with Thomas.
Got
we were
it.
in Com 41 together.
We were in.
I lived across the hall from Dre Bly, who played for the Chargers.
That's cool.
Wow, that's
true,
cool.
True fact.
So we
Used to ask me
were.
for Theraflu.
We went to Point Park University in Pittsburgh. We both majored in theater and
Musical theater.
musical theater. I
Musical
always
theater.
leave that out. I studied acting. No, musical theater, and we were on the same floor, and we just like hit it off and became friends.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, we haven't connected. Probably this is the first time we've seen each other in a decade.
A long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you ended up getting into wine. You have a YouTube channel. You have an amazing Instagram. And that's why when I initially tagged you, I was like, we should collaborate on something at some point.
Yeah.
Because even before SGP's wine, Kyle McLaughlin, his wine, which is
Pursued by Bear.
Pursued by Bear.
Yes, which is a stage direction from a Shakespeare play.
Really? Because
Yeah.
it sounds like an episode name of Twin Peaks.
It does.
It sounds like you
Yeah.
would be pursued by.
I've never seen Twin Peaks, but I
Real
I feel
good.
like if we ever get him on the phone, you kind of have to escalate our experience.
Oh.
And instead, you just have to, something came up, got to let you go and hang up on him mid conversation.
I feel like you gotta.
You know what he would say? He'd be ready to call right back. And he would just say, Alrighty. You got it, Amanda.
I love it.
So you've been working in Napa Valley, and
Yes.
and tell us about your job as a sommelier and your relationship to Sex and the City.
Yeah, well, basically, I do what we're doing right now, Sans Podcast. So I drink wine for a living.
Figured it out.
Yeah.
good job.
Yeah, living the good life. And I do want to say, like, I just feel like it's been 10 years, but like no time has passed.
I know.
You know?
I know.
That's really
It's so
cool.
great.
Yeah.
When I walked in all stressed because we had to move studios, I was like, Amanda, great to see you. Let's figure this out. And
It
it's
is-
like,
yeah.
it's nice that it's like, you're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's why I reached out, because I know you're cool. We get along. It's going to be fine. But
no, it was awesome.
Yeah.
I just feel like that needed to be said. Yeah. So I mean, you know, we both did musical theater together, and then I got into wine when I was living here in New York City, and got really, really pulled into it, and was asked to come out to Napa Valley and work as a sommelier. So my whole job is tasting wine, selling wine, buying wine, and talking about wine. So it's literally like everything that's in this glass.
That's like the dream experience for so many people
like
out there.
pretty much.
Like,
Yeah.
How did you land that gig?
A lot of luck.
Yeah, because I was
Yeah.
gonna ask, and I don't mean this in like a disrespectful way or
Yeah.
anything, but like every job has a thing that's like, well, it's work. It's not fun. So like
Yeah.
there's hard work that goes into that.
No.
Okay. I was like, what's the hard part?
I mean, hopefully, like my bosses aren't listening. I mean, like the spreadsheets suck, but like,
There you go.
because you're
Every
a buyer,
job.
a buyer.
yeah.
as well.
So like, okay, so I didn't start doing this. I was brought on to be a sommelier. So my entire job was basically going to the restaurant every day and selling wine to people who are visiting Napa Valley for the first time, or maybe the 17th. And I would sell wine to them. And then last year I took over the buying and curating of this program. And so we've got 15,000 bottles and like 1,500 SKUs. And it's a very, very big wine inventory. And so it's all my responsibility. And then I manage 3 sommeliers who are also selling wine on the floor. So that's like basically my entire job.
And that's at...
It's at a restaurant called Press in St. Helena, which is a subsection of Napa Valley.
So you live in Napa.
I do.
What is it like? I've driven through... After college, I moved out west.
You don't live in Napa.
You take a Napa.
You don't live...
Oh my gosh, how
She
fucking
did.
great was that?
Oh my
She was
God.
like, there's like a...
She was like,
There's this
a
one
thing.
line that's like, yeah, it's
How-
pretty iconic.
How insane...
Traveling, sleeping, something. I don't know.
How insane was it to talk to her and be like, oh, so the end of season, I don't remember what that part was. Can you catch me up? Like, just like, oh.
The surrealness of it
Yeah,
all.
She's like, I know you guys like Sex and the City. I kind of have this empire. You know,
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
You know, that's not the only thing I've been doing.
Oh, you know how I have a fashion company and I also have a show on HBO and I'm also doing a play with my husband right now
Yeah.
at the Plaza Hotel. Yeah, all
I
that
know.
stuff.
Yeah,
need to not
yeah.
sleep
I'll call
anymore.
you back.
So wait,
No, the tangents are good because we all live this.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
let's,
we really
let's keep
did.
them coming.
We've been in the trenches
yeah.
together. What is it like living in Napa?
Quiet
Okay.
and drunk. So a lot of wine. It's like pretty, it's rural. It's a lot of vineyards and farmers and winemakers, but we also have like more Michelin starred restaurants per capita than anywhere else in the world.
Really?
Yeah, which is really cool. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You don't have a line at the post office, which is great. If you have to go to the emergency room, that takes no time. And so those are the benefits of moving from New York City to Napa.
Both of those
mostly.
things in New York are
Terrible.
Post office is terrible, and
Yeah.
I've been to the emergency room here, and both things are not pleasurable.
So
Major
you, so
resistance.
you know.
The emergency room here is crazy. They
I
like
went
put
to the-
people on hallways.
I went to the emergency room like a year and a half ago, and there was a woman who was handcuffed to a rolling bed.
Yeah.
There were cops.
But that
like,
happens to everyone's like emergency room visit.
insane.
Yeah.
The other thing that was crazy is when I was getting x-rays, because we talked about it, I like had a bike accident and broke a couple bones. As I was getting x-rays, the x-ray tech who was like bending my arm in a weird way and it was super painful, we started talking about him being from Jamaica, and then we talked about his vacation and like what it was like being on a boat with his family. And he was like, "It's cool, man. You should come down sometime." And I'm like there with freshly worked ones, being like,
I wish you were there the night we're going to record with SJP.
It's
Yeah.
cool. There. Yeah, the emergency room sounds way better
Yeah.
in Napa.
Yeah.
But you lived in, how long did you live in New York?
I lived here for 5 years.
And to bring it full circle to where we are in this podcast,
Yes.
because the fact to be a woman living in New York, getting into wine, what's your connection with Sex and the City? And it sounds like you kind of lived a Sex and the City life here a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think any woman living in New York City or outside of New York City, and if you've ever watched the show, there is some connection to at least one of the women in some way.
Yeah.
And so for me, like the show started when I was in, I think, high school. And so I kind of had to catch up a little bit because I was initially too young to watch the first few seasons, but then I got really into it. And so I actually, like, when we met, we were like in the thick of things with Sex and the City. We didn't know what was happening with
Yeah.
Aiden and Big. And so I was obsessed with the show and of course watched it multiple times. We all owned the DVD collections. But then living in New York City, like, it's kind of the dream. Like you walk through listening to Alicia Keys sing about Empire State of Mind and like think you're Carrie Bradshaw in your Steve Madden shoes, though she was wearing Manolo Blahniks. And you like, there are a lot of things that you see on the show that sort of resonate with you as a woman living in New York. And Carrie Bradshaw was an incredibly independent woman, which was very, very cool to watch. Like she needed no man at any point in the season, like to a point. And I don't know, like if you guys have gotten here, that like it caused like rifts within her friendships about the independence that she had or didn't have. And as a woman who was single in New York for 5 years and moving out to Napa Valley on my own with no money, with no anyone, like those characters were deeply ingrained in my psychology. So, I mean, without getting too like artsy fartsy about it. Like, yeah, Carrie Bradshaw like meant a lot to me, and was super cool to talk to the woman that made all of that happen.
I think she meant a lot. Sorry, I think she meant a lot to a lot of people.
She did.
We hear that all
Absolutely.
the time about how influential that character was, and how that show just resonated with so many different people for so many different reasons.
There's a thing, especially since we've all spoken to her at this point, but it's so funny. Always.
Did she follow you on Instagram yet? Because she followed me.
Did she really?
No.
Oh, she should follow you.
Should follow you.
She would, mine, she would be like, what's this? Mine, she will at some point. I'm just putting it out in the universe.
Hey, put it out there. Julia Cameron, artist away.
But we talk about anytime separating the art from the artist comes up, it's always negative. And so when you think about the influence she's had on people, that has to be partially because of who she is as Sarah Jessica Parker. So it's like the positive version of of the reason why she's so influential. If it was just known like horrible diva, gossipy, mean, like doesn't talk, like if there wasn't this thing of everyone we've talked to being like, she's so nice, she's so positive, she's so connects with her listeners, she's like a mogul. It's so cool to have that as a positive thing of like that kind of influences how you feel about Carrie Bradshaw to the point where you have to be like, that is a character. That's not just her. But I don't know. It's cool how inspiring she is as an artist and as a businesswoman and as a creative.
Yeah. I mean, she to me was someone that was equal parts smart, sexy, savvy, sophisticated. And I think those are all adjectives that I aspire to have in my life. And as this wine professional, like this industry, by the way, is incredibly male dominated and has been for a very long time. And it still is. And I think there's a lot of boundaries being broken, and not to get like me too about this, but like she sort of paved the way for me personally. I won't say for females in general, but like she gave me the confidence, I think, in many ways to embrace my femininity without sacrificing me feeling like I could be smart and confident at the same time. Like it's okay to wear a pair of Louboutins and also talk about wine in a sophisticated way that doesn't seem like you're being pedantic or too wishy-washy. Yeah. So anyway, I think it's really cool that she got into wine. I hope she continues with it. I think this wine is great. And I know she's involved. She was approached to do this wine, but I really do hope that this gives her the confidence that it sounds like she maybe wants to like continue maybe pursuing. Because it was funny. Like, remember I told you before the podcast, I was like, some people really just don't, a lot of people don't feel like they have confidence when it comes to wine. Like it is this very, like it makes people feel not at ease. And I think she definitely demonstrated that, or at least verbalized that in our conversation.
Well, yeah, when she heard you were a Som, she was like, like nervous. Yeah, it's interesting.
Do you think we've had some before? Because right after we finished the call, we're like, let's have some. But can we fill our glasses and go through like a tasting with you?
Oh, for sure. Let's do that.
And whatever we need to know or whatever.
Yeah. So I'll start with this.
Maybe you can tell just us and our listeners how to do a proper tasting.
Yeah.
Like we like wine.
That's a good idea.
Also like drinks.
Let's give a special shout out to Cory for just letting us destroy his dry January.
Oh my goodness.
Anytime we've done this
dry January.
Sorry,
and you know what's funny is
not today, baby.
I never want to do things like that. I mean, like you and Jon are doing some diets together, but like you've got, and you are holding to it well, but I've never really held anything like this. And then I was really going strong. And I had a conversation with someone last night where I was like, you know, it's great. You sleep better and everything. And it's gone.
Bottoms up, baby.
Greatest cheat day on this of all time.
So can you tell us about the whole experience from the moment you opened the bottle? Because when we opened this bottle, we immediately started experiencing the wine in some way.
Yeah. Well, okay. So I first want to point out that this is a screw top, which I think a lot of people see as being maybe something that would denote a wine of a lesser quality. And that is 1000% not true. Let's just start there. Australia and New Zealand are both on the forefront of technology when it comes to wine and have believed that screw tops are a better way to go for a number of different reasons. I really like them, at least at this price point and for this particular varietal. One, because it allegedly preserves freshness, but also there's nothing worse than getting a wine home and it's corked. So we'll start there. And so the screw top on this wine, totally fine with. Glassware, we've got stemless glasses, which is great. I don't really have any particular glass that I mean, I do, but I think like whatever you like at home is what you drink and what you should use. So as you take the glass to your nose, let's start there.
Yeah. Is there a way that you should smell wine?
Kind
do you
of.
smell out of one nostril, two nostrils? What's going on?
There's
You like plugging out? Like,
No, I've talked to some, like, I talked to a guy that was like a tequila sommelier, and he was like, I always smell out of one nostril.
hey, this is wine.
you do have a dominant nostril. That's true.
I've always known I'm ambinostrilless.
Oh,
I
I knew you were special.
My high school band was called Dominant Nostril.
Get the hell out of here. No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't. It was
it's
actually
not.
called, it was called
Oh,
Everyday. It was
I
called
believed
Everyday
you for
Kid.
7 seconds.
They would have been pretty fucking punk if that was as bad.
Yeah.
Dominant nostril.
Dominant Nostril. This next song's by Limp Bizkit.
100% there's going to be a band in Napa Valley called Dominant Nostril
so
now.
good.
I would
Thank
love
you
that.
so much. Yeah, like so when we're tasting wine, when you're tasting at home, it's very different than like when I'm tasting as a wine professional that like has to analyze these wines for whatever. But if you're me and you're like analyzing wine, the first thing you're going to do, we smell in the sign of a cross. It's not holy, but we smell inside of cross. Okay. So you stick your nose in the glass and you kind of want to get it in there. Although I will say this is an incredibly aromatic wine. And that is sort of a quality of the Sauvignon Blanc grape that you get often. So you'll smell the side and the sign of cross. So you'll kind of stick your nose in. Sorry, this is really hard to do with the microphone. You'll stick your nose in the glass. You snip up, down, left, right, or right, left, whichever you feel is appropriate. Because you kind of get different things as you move your nose around the glass.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You do.
That's crazy. I also ran out of breath as I was doing that.
I did too because I was talking.
Dude, that's like when little kids drink water and they're drinking water and then like as soon as they stop, like it's my favorite.
So you want to swirl. So some people like put their hand on top of the glass and like cover it. I think that's a whole bunch of baloney, but do what you want. I love that all of you did it as I said it.
And then we stopped. We're like, we're so sorry.
Why would they do that?
Some people say that it like traps the aromas in, but to me it's cheating, right? Like it's either aromatic and it's coming out of the glass.
Yeah, when you're enjoying a glass of wine, you don't like put your hand over it in between every drink.
Right. Like, okay, so how would you drink in real life? Like you wouldn't do that. And like also you wouldn't smell in the sign of the cross. But anyway, so you want to snuff the wine.
Fine, you don't have to do it. Wasting a lot of sense in my book.
Look us up on Kickstarter. We're winecovers.com. We cover your wine before every single drink. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So like if you're just drinking wine at home, you don't have to do any of this. But if you're just like, if you want to learn about wine, this is the way to do it. And so you'll sniff in the sign of a cross and look for a few different things. One is fruit. One is non-fruit. So like things like spices or earth, minerals, things like that. And then you'll also look for the quality of each. So you'll look to see like if you get pineapple, is the pineapple cooked? Is it raw? Did they just chop it? Are the spices really intense and like aromatic? Are they jumping out of the glass? So you'll want to look for quality of that, especially with a white wine. So for me, as I'm smelling this, there's a lot of like herbaceousness. There's a lot of pineapple. There's some zestiness. Cory, you said green apple earlier. I thought that was spot on.
Oh, thank you.
You're so welcome. And then we sip. And the first sip is going to be a primer sip. It's kind of like you're painting a house. So you want to kind of reset your palate. The one thing you don't want to do is take a sip of water before you drink wine. Yeah, I know.
Why
It's like
not?
Everybody loves that one because so your mouth is always trying to achieve a neutral state and all water has a level of pH. And so you're going to salivate to achieve back to neutral.
So what do? Do you just kind of sit there and like
just kind of like swallow a little bit, let your mouth just sort of
it's like when you smell perfumes, you're supposed to chew on a coffee bean before drinking. Yeah. I heard that.
So should
I'm totally kidding.
Oh, I was like, I don't know.
No, I'm totally kidding.
Lanolin, I've heard that.
I think you're supposed to bite your lip and bleed into your own mouth.
Bite your nails. Prune your nails for a little bit.
Yeah, I think you do that. You just sit there and salivate. That's all you do. You just salivate.
Yeah, just sit there and kind of like take a few,
It's actually what Big League Chew was made for originally.
There you go.
Okay, can we sip?
You can sip.
I already did.
What's the primer sip like?
The primer sip should just be like to set your palate to get it ready.
Big sip?
Whatever sip you want. I don't know what a big sip's for you.
Big sip or an
Costco
Aiden
wholesale.
sip?
Yeah. That would be my band name. Big Sip.
Oh, big.
Did you hear my joke? A big sip or an Aiden sip?
Ooh.
I heard
Sorry.
I heard it.
There it is.
Okay,
We'll use it
is
I
later.
heard it, I just didn't think it was funny. Because I want my cake and eat it too.
I have a question.
Yes.
When I first took a sip earlier, I didn't have this, but when I swished it around just now for my primer sip, it didn't taste like there were bubbles, but it had like a brightness to it around like a, what's that called?
An effervescence.
An effervescence.
It feels like a pre-effervescence. Like it could almost be an effervescent.
Yeah, I mean, some of these wines, so during the process of fermentation, CO2 is emitted. So there is always the possibility of having a small amount of it. And sometimes to preserve freshness and it's also, CO2 is a weak acid. So to give the illusion of acidity, sometimes they won't rack it off, meaning like they won't physically like move the wine from point A to point B and keep those bubbles intact. So like you might have like had a little tinge of something.
It could have been that, or it could have been just like certain taste buds that haven't been used in such a long
Maybe.
time.
Did you have a CO2 cartridge in your mouth when you did that?
Yeah.
That could also
That's
be
what it
it.
is.
That's
But Cory, you
possible.
talked about something earlier, which was this like sort of prickliness on your tongue. And I think that's like Sauvignon Blanc is a very phenolic grape. So it has a lot of, so all of the flavor when it comes to wine, you nailed it. You know it.
I'm a super taster
No,
guy.
Cory said, like did you know what phenolic means?
Oh yeah. My favorite actor is Finale Culkin. Yeah, I know what Finale
It's
was.
devolving quickly. We need to move.
All right, so
So Sauvignon Blanc's a very
you
phenolic
guys can tell it's dry January and I've had some wine.
Yes, he's getting red. So all of the flavor and the color and all of the stuff comes from the skins, and Sauvignon Blanc in particular has a lot of that, and it comes from the phenolics of the grape. So anyway, so you might be getting a little bit of that like phenolic tension or some of that bitterness on your tongue, which will give you the illusion like when you bite into a pear or a peach or anything like that, you do get like a little something on your tongue, and that's like tannin and phenolics, right? So that's exactly what's happening with the Sauvignon Blanc. So so you're looking, when you're tasting the wine, you are looking for acidity, and do you know how to measure acidity? This is kind of fun.
It's different than pH. Like it's like measuring.
So like when
Is it
you
something on the front or back of your tongue?
it's not, but that's a good guess. I like that.
I was thinking like pH strips, like measuring on a scale of.
Well, you could do that, but like your mouth will do it for you. And you measure the amount of acidity that's in the wine by the amount that you salivate. And so, so if you are salivating, like, so you take a sip of wine and you take a breath, and if you're salivating from like your mid cheek down, then you'll say that's probably medium low acidity. If you're salivating like up by your ears, that's like super high acidity.
So I'm salivating like by the sides of my tongue, kind of up near like the top of my jowls.
Yeah, and
this
if
is high acidity
that's
wine
high
then.
acidity, and that's pretty normal for Sauvignon Blanc, especially from New Zealand. It's got a higher acid.
That is so interesting.
Can I devolve the like just a second, and we'll come right back?
Absolutely.
Does that extend to other acidities, like high acidity coffees? Kevin and I are some coffee snobs.
Me too.
We like
I'm an aspiring one.
John is John.
I mean,
me and John have talked about getting the coffee knowledge up there. John loves a good cold brew, but we talk about like a good like Ethiopian, some high acidity coffee. Will you taste that in the same places?
You should, yeah. I mean, acidity is really just how you measure it is a measure of your pH, and the way that you neutralize your mouth is by salivating.
What about like a Warhead candy? Same thing?
I mean, I assume, yeah. I haven't had it since I was 7 and on a school bus, but
well, I had it a couple weeks ago.
Great.
And it still works.
you are winning in life.
You had a really crappy Halloween this year, then. Because, I love high acidity coffee, and I love high acidity wine. It's I like it, and actually
that actually makes you a wine nerd. Like, all right, that's like the prerequisite for being a wine nerd is loving high acid things.
That's great.
Yeah,
You know
so
what?
like we can just job swap or something.
You know what goes good with? I don't know. You could tell me if this goes good or not. But I think like high acid things, they cut fat, and like a fried chicken.
I'm blowed. My mind is blown right now.
Yeah, like a fried. Like if you had, well, this is a different thing. I was gonna say like fried chicken and champagne.
Yes.
Great pairing.
You nailed it.
But
You
then-
know. Come on. You know what's up.
You know,
Yes.
I'm into food.
Yes. So acid cuts fat. That's why when we do food pairings, we try to like play those two things against each other. So like opposites attract, sweet and salty, high acid wines with like champagne. So champagne is very high acid, obviously. It's from a very cold region. So the cooler the region, the more likely you are to have acid and lower alcohol wines as a factor of ripeness. So as you're tasting this wine, you'll notice there's not a ton of viscosity. So like viscosity is the density of the liquid. That's probably not the right scientific term, but as you're thinking about everything from whole milk to skim milk to completely black coffee, that's a measure. That's how you would look at like viscosity. So how it coats your mouth. So this is a really low viscosity wine. It's not coating your mouth completely, but there is like a little bit of like oiliness and lushness on the palate. And then the quality of the fruit, New Zealand in the Marlborough region, like New World so it's not from Seltzer, which is what we call the old world in a cooler climate. So you're getting some more lush, ripe tropical fruits. The riper the fruit, the more likely you are from a warmer region. So the less ripe the fruit, you're from a cooler region. So as you're tasting this, I would look for acid, viscosity, and then fruit and what varying degrees of that you are tasting. And that's kind
That
of
is so interesting.
it
super interesting.
in a nutshell. Yeah, we nailed it.
Let's say you're planning a dinner with the girls or with the guys. You're going to watch your favorite Sex and the City episodes or movies or the show Divorce or the movie The Family Stone. What?
Love that movie.
We just watched it. What would you pair this wine with if you're going to like make a dinner? I mean, we kind of just talked about acid
Great
and stuff
call.
like that, but like, what would you, if you're listening to our podcast now and you're like, I want to go get this wine, you're going to make a dinner, what would you pair this with?
Yeah, I mean, it's winter. Normally you would do this with like a salad with some like citrus stuff. So like a salad with like mandarin and like chickens, like lighter fare for sure. I would definitely want to highlight some of these like pineapple flavors. You could also do like chicken skewers. Like I would love this with like if you did like a skewer of like chicken and pineapple, maybe some other like peppery, like green and yellow peppers, things like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So like, okay. So
You could
like
drink
some
this
spice.
solo too, by the way.
It seems like one. Yeah. I mean, that's what we've been doing. It's
kind
delicious.
of a patio pounder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally.
Obviously, Corey and I played it up like we don't know what we're talking about. We took a wine class.
We did. Oh my gosh. That's right. We took
did.
that wine class together.
And since then, I've elevated my wine drinking to a different price point.
I love that.
And I really do like good wine. And one of the things that I've gotten into since drinking good wine has been New Zealand Sauvignon Blancs. And then this was when we were planning the other one with Kyle McLaughlin's wine. And now we have this. And I'll just say this, great wine. My friend has a roof that we hang out in all summer. It'd be great for that. I would always bring over a Gruner. Are Gruners anywhere in the similar vein of tasting notes as this?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's what I always drink over the summer.
A little less fruit.
Yeah.
But like dry,
Theirs are more-
bright.
a little more
I think of them as-
viscosity, I guess. Okay.
A
Is it
little
heavier?
less.
A little less.
Gruners
Oh.
are usually a little bit less.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's
And-
from a cooler climate.
I think of those as like minerally. This doesn't seem minerally. It seems more fruity.
Absolutely.
But it's like, I'm just trying to like, we got the expert version. I'd be like this, if you're like going to Central Park or Prospect Park or any park where you live, hanging out with people, if you're like
MacArthur Park.
Johnson
Park.
Yeah.
Sunset Park.
Sunset Park.
Randall Park.
Myers Park in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Do you know what Randall Park is?
No. Where's that?
He's the star of Fresh Off the Boat. If you're going to Randall Parks for a, but no, it's just like, I feel like, it's just it would be a great go-to wine to hang out and drink outdoors with.
Yeah. I love the expert opinion and then the moderate expert opinion. And I think this is probably like the third time I've ever had white wine in my life. It was good. It was really
You're
good.
into it.
John, where do you live? Where do you live? No, don't give the address, but what's the closest wholesale grocery emporium? What's a wholesale place close to your apartment that you are a huge fan of?
That would be Costco, Kevin.
Because guess what?
Tell us.
Guess where you can get this wine?
Well, I'm wearing my Costco tank top for this very reason.
That is a true fact.
John loves Costco more than anything. And guess what? Besides Katie, he loves Katie and he loves Costco. You can get this wine at Costco nationwide. Bevmo, California. Have you heard of Bevmo?
For sure. Yeah.
Okay. I don't.
It's like a total wine, sort of.
Cool.
Yeah.
PCLB in Pennsylvania. We went to college in Pennsylvania.
We sure did.
Jewel Osco in Chicago. Do you know Jewel Osco, John? You're from
Absolutely. I know Jewel.
Really?
Chicago.
You know
Shaw's.
Jewel?
Yeah, I know Jewel, the vape pens. I love those things.
Oh, yeah. I thought the singer, Jewel.
Yeah, I know her too.
But Jewel Osco, Chicago, yeah. Shaw's? Love a Shaw's.
Maine, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Vermont.
Yep. Also,
Wine.com.
you guys are on the internet. You're listening to this podcast.
Ooh, 67 wines.
NYC, baby.
Okay, I don't want to get arrested, but the other day I went to a movie at Lincoln Square.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Little Women, and I went to 67 Wines to go scope out if they had this wine there because I knew that we were coming up, and they have it at 67 Wines NYC. Bottles and Cases, Long Island.
Also, Park Avenue Liquor, NYC.
Yep, that's where we were going to do the event. Thomas Leonard was there.
Oh, that's
we were gonna
right.
Go to the event, meet SJP there.
Also, we're talking about collaboration. She did this with Invivo. I love this Jay-Z collaboration. This store is called Empire State of Wine, NYC.
In New York!
Ew.
That's right. Great one.
And it's going to be available. So it's also available in UK, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, Turks and Caicos, fancy, Canada.
And
Worldwide
of course,
distribution. That's amazing.
InvivoXSJP.com is more information of where you can find on all the different outlets.
Yeah. A couple questions real quick.
Let's end on we'll get you out of here because you need to eat dinner. But like what's like one, it's season 5 and 6 are coming up for us.
Mm-hmm.
What's like one plot point or episode you're excited for us to experience in season 5 or season 6?
Oh, God.
Because we've never seen the show, and we're about to start season 5 is our next episode. We're going to begin it, and we've never seen them. We don't know what happens.
Have you gotten to Burger yet? Is that
We've never met Burger.
Oh,
We haven't. We've heard, like Kevin and I have heard some interesting things from a comedian friend of ours who is a listener of the podcast. She was telling us that Burger is based on an actual stand-up comedian. That's like the rumor, but we haven't gotten a Burger yet.
I don't know if that's my favorite, but it does. It did sting the most.
Ooh,
It did like that.
Like a really
that-
acidic wine.
Yes.
yeah, just
That-
hits you in
that
the
plot-
top of the tongue.
That whole like story arc for Carrie, it just like I don't think there's a woman I know who hasn't experienced what she went through in some way.
Without a spoiler, can you tell me what you're talking? Like, what does that mean?
Don't spoil it, but spoil it.
Yeah, exactly.
Just like trying to make a square peg fit in a round hole, thinking that it's working, and then all of a sudden being like blindsided.
I don't know, and I don't want to know.
Mm-hmm.
All I know is based on I know about the Post-it, and I don't know. And like I said, I don't want to know. I don't know if he wrote the Post-it or she wrote the Post-it. I just know the Post-it is like big time.
Yeah.
And I've like, it's so iconic. It comes up in our Instagram feed and people have sent it to us and we don't know what the context of it. I just know that it has to do with Burger. And I've read it and I'm just like, oh, fuck, that already like
hurts.
So
Yeah.
rough.
messes with my head.
Yeah. And just like the way it all, like, cause I just feel like as a woman, like we've all held out hope for the bad boy that was like the one that got away. He's coming back.
Yeah.
You know, like we've all kind of felt that. And then, I mean, I won't give anything away, but
Does he
Yeah.
come back?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Come
Well,
on.
You're going
listen,
to have
as-
to watch.
Come on, man.
As
Come
three,
on, man.
you got to know right now, you're sitting down with 3 bad boys right here.
That's right.
Here's the thing. We're so
Like a bunch of
bad.
corn
Would
pops.
you come back over?
We don't know if we're coming back. That's how
That's
bad
right.
we
I could
are.
end this podcast now. I'm a bad boy.
You talked to Sarah Jessica Parker. I think you can end the podcast right now.
That's true. I think we're done.
We
Thanks for being our last guest.
we would end it. We were gonna end it if it weren't for what she said.
Oh, what did she say?
You heard it.
I did hear it, but I want you to say it because it's
What's-
your show.
What'd she
Said,
say?
I hope that I
She's-
can meet you in person
And
when
sit
we
down.
don't have earbuds in. And
I mean, just getting the picture, I'm like, that's such a normal Carrie Bradshaw, like celebrity just out there being like, yeah, can you hear? Like when she said earbuds, I was just like,
Some
you're
tourist
real.
walked by and was like, "Oh my gosh, that's Sarah Jessica Parker talking to someone really important."
Yeah.
We were
writing it on her.
we were those people.
We were them. If you saw her.
Sarah Jessica Parker, thank you so much.
so much.
That was very generous.
And also thanks to all the listeners that have reached out and like said, you hope this happens. Like we say this a lot, but like this would not even be fun to do if it weren't for like you guys going on this journey with us. But it really is like, this is one of the most exciting nights in my like our entertainment, comedy, acting, whatever career. Getting
Adult
to talk
life.
You can
Adult
say
life.
your entire
You
life
just say
because
life.
it's real.
My
Yeah.
adult life.
Yeah, my entire life.
true.
This was incredible to finally get to talk with this person. So
Amanda McCrossin,
Yes.
thank you
Thank you.
so much for coming on this
Oh,
freaking journey tonight
Guys,
with us.
this was
But-
amazing. How did I get to be on the podcast with Sarah Jessica Parker?
I
so
am really
fun.
happy.
Nuts.
Can you tell us though where people can find you, where they can find out about
Yes.
you, what they can follow about you, all that stuff?
Yeah, is this where I get to plug myself?
Yes, please do.
Yes. So I work at Press Restaurant. So if you find yourself in Napa Valley on a honeymoon or a trip or whatever, you can find me at that restaurant, Sling and Wine. And then if you would like to follow me on Instagram, I'm at sommvivant, SOMMVIVANT. And on YouTube, if you like to consume your content that way via video, I'm on there also at sommvivant.
Can we ask you the question?
Yes.
Are you Big or Aiden?
Oh my God. How did I not see this coming?
I don't know. It was pretty. It was
that was pretty Jedi,
What is
Corey.
it?
That was
What is
even
it?
I was just like, what's he gonna say?
I
What's
was
he
like,
gonna-
what?
oh fuck.
Like, what? Why did
What
you get
are
on Tuesday? I don't know. I'm still team big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I really thought you were going to be like, I'm actually feeling salvation in a different
Yeah.
part of my. Nope.
Because I've always been like into older guys and like just big, just as like
You like smaller heads.
yeah.
Yeah, because
Aiden has a huge
I
head.
appreciate that Aiden chopped wood, but at the end of the day, like big got her a closet. So
smaller heads, larger suits. I get it.
oh, you guys didn't get there yet.
No.
No.
Sorry.
I haven't
That's okay.
gotten there.
Well, thank you so much. This
Thank
has
you,
been
everybody.
an absolute joy.
Thank you,
What a-
Amanda.
what a
Thank
ride.
you.
Incredible.
I'll see you in a year. I think we need to this needs to be an anniversary special
We
or something.
we absolutely will follow up, and no joke, we will come to Napa Valley and we'll come to press.
Absolutely.
Oh my
100%.
gosh, I would
Okay.
love that.
All right. Thank
right.
you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Kory Cavin, Jon Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy L. Balon. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys, and if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.
All right.
Oh my gosh, I'm like,
What?
I'm like
Maybe
so
we should
fucking
just-
stressed.
Maybe we should just start the episode there.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So what's going on?
We need to just. Holy cow.
All right.
Can we get a couple more bottles of wine?